It's another episode of Howie Mandel Does Stuff. I'm Howie Mandel, and let me introduce you to the other stuff here. Go ahead. Stuff.
You're introducing me or me? I'm Jacqueline Schultz. I'm your daughter. Your favorite daughter. Your favorite child.
Can I just say something? I was going to introduce you.
Okay, sorry.
And with Jacqueline, I can't do it now because you already brought yourself on.
Okay, this is not going so well.
It hasn't been going. I haven't gotten a lot of sleep. I haven't gotten a lot of. I've been up. I'm bored. Well, look at you. You look beautiful today. Are you wearing?
Thank you.
Why do you look different?
I put on a lot of makeup, so much so that my facial recognition software on my phone didn't even recognize me. Like, I was trying to go send a text and I held it up. It did not recognize me. That goes to show you that I never wear makeup, ever. I'm unrecognizable without makeup.
Oh, well, the glass is half empty in that way. What about being unrecognizable with makeup? I think that makes more sense to what happened. But
okay.
Why'd you put Go ahead.
Because we're recording something and we're videotaping and I want to look pretty, especially next to you, Dad.
Is it because
you look fantastic?
I'm gorgeous. I always imagine that if you're putting on a lot of makeup, it's because you didn't like the way you look. Because you didn't wear this much makeup on other broadcasts. Did you sleep well last night?
Yeah. What is this in reference to? I don't know where you're going with this. I'm fine.
I'm going to have a conversation. What do you mean? Where am I going? Why can't we just talk? No, I get concerned because you're my child, and I think you look very pretty, but you don't usually wear that kind of makeup, and then I feel like if somebody's putting on makeup, they're hiding something. You didn't Botox, did you?
No, that's why I have to put on a bunch of makeup,
Did
Dad,
you sleep well last night?
Didn't Botox. Yeah.
No, I always think...
Yeah, why?
No, I'm just asking why you put on makeup. Well, why you didn't sleep well? People don't know this about you, but Jackie has a tough time sometimes because she sees ghosts.
Oh, that's what you're getting at.
I wasn't getting I thought of it, but you see ghosts, right? So sometimes you don't sleep and weird things happen. You're always calling me. There was a noise in the house. I saw an image. Right? You're like a...
I hate talking about this because I feel like every time I bring it up and start talking about it, that's when stuff starts happening again. I don't know if it's because I'm thinking about it and inviting it to me or to my presence. But yeah, I try not to talk about it that much. But
so
no,
I
slept well last night.
Did I make a mistake in bringing it up?
No, let's talk about it.
Well, first of all, and you can leave us messages and find ways to get in touch with us. I happen to believe in the beyond. I do. Mm-hmm. And I was a skeptic. I was a big skeptic. But the things that I've witnessed concerning you, I went like, what are the answers? We'll tell one quick little story and then we'll move on. The one that got me. When you were a little baby, we talked about this. What show were we on with this?
I think it was on the Travel Channel, right?
I don't know, Celebrity Scared or something. I don't know what it was. But anyway, we talked about this, and I don't know if I told it well on there. But the truth of the matter is, when we brought you home and you were a little baby, and we made a nice nurseries before you had brothers and sisters, you used to have these nightmares. And I used to walk into your room, and you'd be in the crib up in the middle of the night, and you'd go, the man. And I go, what? I don't know, man. And you'd be pointing over at the cupboard beside the crib, and you didn't have... And there's no man in there. And then this is all the time for months and months and months. The man. And I go, what does the man look like? And you said he has hair face. He has a hair. You were just 1 or 2 years old. But you explained to me that he had a beard. He had hair on his face and he's there. And I just thought, it's just a kid having nightmares. Eventually we hire this nanny to help us because I'm on the road and I want you to come on the road so the nanny can come on the road with us. And then if Terry, your mom, wants to come to the show, we can have a nanny at the hotel or in the bus, just watch you. And then the nanny, after a month, said, I'm not feeling comfortable in your house. And I'm thinking, what? She goes, do you believe in ghosts? And I said, no. And she said, well, every night there's a man with a beard that comes into my room. And he just hangs on that wall up in the corner. Now, You have to know that her room was directly under Jackie's room. So she was kind of pointing to the same area. Your closet and her room were kind of attached, and I went, "Oh shit, you're here." And then, but my first reaction, I'm reiterating, those weren't. But my first reaction is, this lady's nuts, and we moved on. And then we went to Toronto, and I was carrying you in my arms when we walked into my in-laws' place, and she's a painter, my mother-in-law, and we walked into this room. And she had painted this picture of an old man with a beard. And as I walked by the picture holding you, you pointed and screamed, "The man, the man." So at that point, I just listed the house and we sold the house. And I've had some other incidences with you throughout the years. And you have been you're like a
You're missing the craziest part, though. First of all, you did not sell the house right after we went to Toronto. Okay. You still went home with me.
Yeah.
And then what did you hear after you went home when you were lying in bed?
Yeah, you're right. I'm sorry. So from that room, that is the craziest part. So one night, maybe 2, 3 in the morning, we're lying in bed. It's pitch black, it's dark, and really clearly, I hear a man's voice. There's nobody else in the house. Me, my wife, and you, the baby, sleeping. I hear a man's voice really clearly going, "Howie, Howie." And I sit up, and Terry's asleep, and my wife's beside me, and I wake her up, and she goes, "What?" And I go, "Listen." And she hears, "Howie." And she goes, "Who the F is that? Who is that?" And it's coming from where the closet is, where you always see the man. And we went down the hall. Nobody was there. That's when I listed the house, right? Is that when
and then you also said that after the first nanny, now I'm just reiterating the story that you have told a bunch of times, because obviously I was super, super young, so it's hard for me to remember the details. But you had told me that after the first nanny quit, another nanny got hired who had no connection, right? No connection to the first nanny,
right?
Wouldn't have known why she quit.
Right.
And she also had the same exact story, that a man would come every night into her room. So there were multiple people, not just me, not just one nanny, not just my dad. There were multiple people that had experience.
And just to give you some reference, it's not only the house. Throughout the years, I'm not going to mention the hotel because it's maybe not great advertising, but I was working at a hotel in Vegas as a stand-up, and obviously, I bring my family with me when I can. And you and your brother Alex and your sister and some other kids, we got you a giant suite, next to ours, and they were all in the suite. And you weren't young. I mean, you were young, 15, 16?
No. I was already older. I was in college at that point, so I remember the story vividly, and this to me was the scariest experience that I've ever had.
Go ahead.
And I've ever experienced. We were staying,
don't say the hotel.
Staying in this, I'm not.
Okay.
We were staying in this suite, and I was the only one. My boyfriend wasn't there yet, and my boyfriend was coming. So I was alone. It was just me, but my brother had friends, my sister had friends there, and I didn't want to be alone. So I decided to go with my brother and his friends to go to the casino and walk around and stuff like that. And then they stayed out. I ended up coming back. And when I came back to the room, I had a cot by myself in like the living room area of the suite underneath a staircase. This was a really big, nice suite. My sister and her friends were already asleep upstairs. My brother and his friends were still out, so I was by myself and I was getting ready for bed. As I was sitting down on the cot, I started noticing the curtains moving, like swaying back and forth. And I went and I looked to see if there was an air conditioning unit under it. No air conditioning unit. I went and looked to see if maybe the balcony was open. Not open. There was no air coming there, and it just kept blowing, and billowing out into the room. And I'm like, okay, it's nothing. Just go to sleep. So I got into the cot. I turned on the TV. Now, this was one of those high-tech, cool rooms that had like an iPad that controlled the TV, the air conditioning, the sound, the lights. And so I went in and I started seeing the lights flicker and turn on and off. I saw the TV flicker, turn on and off. Like all these things started going on and off. And I told myself that it was just an electrical circuit or something with this high-tech gadget that's going on, and I was trying to convince myself that it was nothing. I get in bed, I turn on the TV really, really loudly so that it would like distract me, and then all of a sudden, the TV went off, the lights went off, and the light on the staircase went on by itself, which is right in front of me, and I hear, I don't know if I can make the sound, but I hear footsteps slowly coming down the stairs towards me. I didn't see anything, just slowly coming down the stairs very loudly, distinct like heels type footsteps.
Wasn't there
coming down
somebody in the
me.
room with you at the same time, those girls that Alex brought?
Yeah, I'm getting to that point.
Oh, okay, all right.
So that they were upstairs. So then at that point, I freak out. There's no explaining in my head what those footsteps coming down towards me are. So I get out of bed and I bolt up the stairs to the room where my sister and her friends are sleeping. I wake them up. I'm crying hysterically, and I am telling them what's happening, and my sister tries to calm me down. She is very level-headed. She's a science major, like a doctor. She doesn't believe in any of this stuff. She only believes in science. So she's like, calm down, just get into bed, you're fine. So I get into bed with my sister, we turn off the lights, and within 5 minutes, I hear my sister and her friends screaming, saying, there's someone at the end of our bed. There's someone at the end of our bed, screaming. I refuse to open my eyes. And so I won't get out of bed, and they're screaming and crying, and they won't get up to go turn on the lights. And finally my sister gets up and turns on the lights, and we bolt downstairs. But this was happening all through the night, where we kept seeing stuff and stuff kept happening. And then I ended up seeing it was a woman. And I tried to tell my parents the next day.
No,
what
so
happened.
she did tell us. You did tell us. And, you know, it was a story, and I don't know what to do with that kind of information. But because I'm working at the hotel, and I just said, you know, room whatever it was, I'm making up a number, but room 1249, to say that was it, you know, at this hotel. I have VIP services because I'm working at the hotel. I'm the entertainer. So I go to a VIP. I go, this hotel must have quite a history. I mean, did anything ever happen in, like, let's just say room 1249? And the concierge goes, why did you pick that number? I said, I'm just saying, you know, I just picked a number. Like, somebody told me a story, maybe. They go, well, who told you? And I go, what do you mean, who told you? He told me that they don't advertise. Obviously, they wouldn't advertise it. 1249, a woman committed suicide in 1249 recently, a young woman who was staying in that room. And the description that she gave was the same as the description of the woman that committed suicide in that room.
And there was no way I would know that. Like, I wasn't looking into the
history. And you weren't standing with
anything.
me when I went and asked the concierge. The concierge didn't even know that I had family staying in that room. So you know, you could say coincidence. You could say there's just been too many coincidences, and I'm fascinated by this stuff all the time now. So I will say to people who are listeners, if you have great stories, you know, either put them on tape, or we'll figure out ways to call in, or just get them to me. Just get them to Jackie, do you have any information on how people send things here?
Yeah. You can email howie@castmedia.com with their information, with their stories. It could be a video or a tape story, but they could submit it to there.
Yeah,
Howie@castmedia with a K.
And they don't have to be ghost stories, but anything you want to submit, that's a good idea.
Hey, Dad, you know what? Did you know this month is Mental Health Awareness Month? Which is kind of silly because every month and every day for us is Mental Health Awareness Month. But it's great because this podcast is sponsored by BetterHelp.
BetterHelp. Help. Not better health. Help. H-E-L-P. And who doesn't need help? Is there something interfering with your happiness or preventing you from achieving your goals? Like a pandemic, news, family?
Yeah, so BetterHelp will assess your needs and match you with your own licensed professional therapist.
There isn't anybody alive. I know you've heard me before talk about having OCD and having issues. It doesn't even need an issue. Just it'll help you. It is a help to have a coping skill, to figure out how to be more productive, to figure out how to be happy, to figure out how to cope. This is the answer.
I'm a big proponent of therapy and working on your mental health. So BetterHelp is also committed to facilitating great therapeutic matches so that they make it easy and free to change counselors if you need to.
Yeah, you just choose who works for you and go to it. So visit betterhelp.com/Howie. That's BetterHelp, H-E-L-P, and join the over 1 million people who have taken charge of their mental health with the help of an experienced professional.
You know, in fact, so many people have been using BetterHelp that they are recruiting additional counselors in all 50 states. So a special offer for Howie Mandel Does Stuff listeners. Again, get 10% off your first month at betterhelp.com/Howie.
That was good.
You know what I just ate before I got here?
I know what you've been eating since we started this podcast. You have your cereal, right?
Ever since we started this podcast, I have been eating my cereal Magic Spoon. I am obsessed because it's healthy. I don't have to worry about getting all those sugars and nasty stuff. Plus, it is delicious. It has 0 grams of sugars, 13 to 14 grams of protein, and only 4 net grams of carbs in each serving.
And it's only 140 calories.
Plus, it's keto-friendly, gluten-free, grain-free, soy-free, low-carb, and GMO. Usually when you say those things, that means it doesn't taste good. Not this. This is delicious.
And it comes in a variety pack. 4 flavors are cocoa, fruity, frosted, and peanut butter. What do? You mix them, right?
Yeah, I know I've said this a bunch of times, but I mix the flavors. My favorite is peanut butter and cocoa, but my daughter likes the fruity and the frosted.
All right, go to magicspoon.com/Howie to grab a variety pack and try it today. And be sure to use our promo code Howie at checkout to save $5 off your order.
And remember, get your next delicious bowl of guilt-free cereal at magicspoon.com/Howie and use the code Howie to save $5 off.
And then to that end, you know, your mother and I are very interested in this stuff. And we were watching Netflix recently, and they have the Cecil Hotel. Is it the Cecil or the Cecil?
I think it's Cecil.
I thought it was Cecil.
Me too. You'll see why I call it Cecil in a minute. But it is the Cecil Hotel. It's so much so, we got so intrigued by it. And for those that are listening that don't know, there's an old hotel in downtown LA. And you could catch this on Netflix if you want to watch it. And a couple of years ago, there was a very strange unsolved murder where there was this young lady from Canada who came, and she was traveling alone. She was traveling all through the state. She was in LA. She stayed at the Cecil or the Cecil Hotel, and she disappeared. And they found her like 2 or 3 weeks later floating in the water tank on the roof. They have some grainy video of her from their security cams of her in the elevator on the night that she disappeared. There's a picture of her getting into the elevator. That's from the thing. So the door opens. Can you see this too, Jackie? I don't know if you can see it.
No, I can't see it, but I watched the documentary.
Well, she starts to press every button, and now she's hiding in the corner of the elevator like she's waiting for something, and now she goes back out like she's nervous, and she checks to see real quickly outside to see if anybody's there. There's nobody there. She gets back in to the elevator. Now she's hiding in the corner. She's obviously terrified, but you don't see anybody show up in the doorway. She checks again. And, you know, there's just this weird, elevator scene. And then nobody heard from her again. And they found her nude body floating. You had to climb, like it's impossible to get into this tank. You would have to climb, floating in the tank weeks later. And the way they were able to find it is guests in the hotel started having a weird taste in their water. Isn't that disgusting? They were brushing their teeth with essence of a dead tourist. Ugh. I know. That's
so gross.
It is so gross. And
you went.
Me and Mom.
To go, I mean, you didn't get out or anything, but you went to drive by after you watched this documentary, right? To see the hotel itself because you were so intrigued by it.
And I started telling you, and you told your brother-in-law. Now, his brother-in-law is Eric. And Eric, let me just give you some background on who Eric is. Eric is a graduate of Yale. Eric went from Yale into finance.
Finance.
So, didn't I say that right?
Yeah.
You're just repeating finance.
Okay, yes.
Anyways, so he's a really bright guy, not a kook, but he loves delving in. He fancies himself a Sherlock Holmes. Whenever any thing in the world is happening and piques people's interest, he wants to find. He believes that there is a factual solution to it. I'm going to call him right now. okay? I'm going to call him right now. And I told him that I watched this thing. He's got I think I'm at the wrong one. He's got, theories about other unsolved mysteries. We should have him on more than this one, but I will have him on this time. Is it picking up? Yeah, here, you'll hear him ringing. This is Eric.
I can't help you right now, Abby.
Perfect timing. Abby wants help with the Cecil Hotel thing.
Well, look who decided to call.
I told him I might call. I just introduced you, Eric. I explained to everybody that, we were talking about, Terry and I watched the Cecil Hotel special. We've had experiences in Jackie's life with what we believe might be the occult. We don't know. We didn't have anybody like you kind of looking into it. And what Eric does, and I explained, as a Yale graduate, as an expert in finance, you're so far away from these kooky conspiracy theorists. It's just based on fact. You look into all these mysteries around the world, and you're like our own Sherlock Holmes, and you believe We were just talking about the Cecil Hotel, and that girl disappeared, and we were talking about Jackie have jokes, but I know that you have a theory as to what happened to her.
I do.
You do? So
yeah.
share this theory. I wish we could take a caller at the real time, and you don't mind if I may question you in the middle, but I wanna hear your theory.
Yeah, that's cool. And did you give a background on all the events that have happened at the hotel?
No, I just told him I'd watch it on Netflix. Like, what are you talking about? We could talk about that. What else happened at the hotel, Eric?
Okay, so I think it's like pretty important to go through it just to stress how extreme everything that's happened there really is. And it started right after being built in 1924. It became pretty apparent it's a death trap, and the Cecil Hotel is the place where people really do die. The first death was January 22nd, 1927, when a 52-year-old man shot himself in the head. Then in the 1930s alone, 6 people committed suicide. 2 swallowed poison pills, 2 jumped out windows, 1 person shot himself in the head, and another cut his own throat with a razor.
Wow.
Fast forward to 1944, it gets really crazy.
Well, it's not crazy yet? Then it gets
this
crazy.
One in particular is really disturbing.
Go ahead.
So a young woman wakes up in the middle of the night in labor. She doesn't want to bother her husband, or not husband, but the father of the baby. So she goes to the communal bathroom on the floor and delivers the baby herself. Confused, thinking the child was stillborn, she throws the child out the window. She goes back to her hotel room and just says nothing to her husband. Or, sorry, again, the father of the baby.
Right.
And apparently both of them didn't even know she was pregnant.
Wow.
So
I don't know if that's dangerous or just stupid. That's an act of stupidity. They didn't know she was pregnant.
I mean,
so that's 1944. I also know that from watching on Netflix that a lot of serial killers and people of that nature stayed there and lived there. I know Ramirez, what was he called? The stalker? Night Stalker?
Yeah, I'm not sure what he's called.
Yeah, the Night Stalker is famous in L.A. That's where he lived.
Yeah, he would go kill somebody, have blood on his clothes, dump the body, or dump his bloody clothes in the dumpster behind the hotel.
So he would get undressed. I saw that on Netflix. He would be totally covered in blood. He'd be in the alley in the back. He would strip off all his clothes, and he'd be just in his boxer shorts, but there'd still be blood all over him. And after every killing, he'd go back to the Cecil Hotel and go up the back way and up the stairs. People saw him and go to his room where he would shower off and live after a murder.
Yeah, apparently that was okay. I think he got away with 13 kills.
Let me ask you a question before you tell us what you believe happened or what you think is the answer to these questions. Have you done research in as far as, because I don't know, and I'm asking you, if you have a property that has, I know the Cecil Hotel has like 700 rooms, right? So just by virtue of having an area that houses that kind of population, aren't you kind of in for a lot of really wacky, horrible stories of suicide and killing? Like, is this more than most hotels that have been around since 1924?
Yeah, I would say so. Just the jumping out the window really stands out. It's just something you don't hear about. And the nature of the killings are really nasty. And a lot of times it's just inexplicable and people just snap.
So, but you think you have an answer to that?
I do. I do.
So what's the answer?
Okay. So, Elisa Lam, you haven't touched on this yet? What happened to her?
What happened to? Yeah, no, I just talked about the Netflix special and the woman, and we showed the tape of her in the elevator, and we said she disappeared, and there was her nude body was found in the tank above. But they didn't really on Netflix solve it. We don't know whether she committed suicide. We don't know whether anybody was there. We don't know exactly what happened. They
did know. They knew that she was diagnosed bipolar, right? And she had some mental illness issues, and she was on medication and stuff like that. So they knew that, and they alluded to the fact that it might have something to do with that.
But what a bizarre way to end your life. Like, I mean, she could have just jumped off the building. It's hard to get to, it was hard to get to the tank. And then when you got to the tank, it was hard to get in the tank.
Yeah. And again, it's just inexplicable what could have driven her to go there.
Right.
So I did a bunch of research. So I looked at the dates of the suicides and other sorts of deaths. And it turns out all of them are correlated with disturbances in Earth's magnetic environment. Specifically, they're correlated with solar storms. And this is something where I went down the list, and for each one past 1950, and that's just the cutoff for where data is available from NASA.
Right.
Every single death is in a period where the Earth's magnetic environment, the magnetosphere, has been disrupted. So basically,
what do you mean? What is a storm? What is that?
So I'll start with the magnetic field. So basically, there's a bubble around the planet that is produced by the spinning molten iron core, and it creates a protective bubble that shields us from harmful UV radiation.
Right.
So if harmful particles come towards the Earth, this shield protects us from it.
Right.
Sometimes the sun will release powerful streams of.
Is that the
particles.
ozone layer? Is that what you're talking about? The ozone layer, or is that different?
So this is like past the ozone layer.
Okay.
I mean, it's situated within. And so sometimes when these charged particles hit the Earth, it basically compresses the magnetosphere.
Right.
And energetic particles make it to the Earth's upper atmosphere. So this is when they get towards the ozone layer. They collide with gases there, and this is what creates the green or red auroras. So that's what
creates what? It creates what?
The auroras.
The aurora borealis, the northern lights?
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's a phenomenon that signals that there is some kind of geomagnetic disturbance.
Right.
And throughout time, we've seen some situations where these solar storms could damage transistors and other like power lines on the ground.
Right.
And cause blackouts.
Okay.
And we're told it doesn't cause any damage to human health or impact us at all, but it seems that if you can damage something that's on the surface of the Earth, it could theoretically impact human health.
Okay.
So now let's look at the Cecil Hotel where it's located. It's in downtown LA.
Right.
And it's right next to the subway.
Okay.
And there are multiple stops kind of like circling the hotel, which means that there are massive power lines that are running underground right near the property.
Okay.
So during periods of increased geomagnetic activity, basically when there's an increase in charge that's going to be running through these power lines potentially,
right?
This excess of the charge would move theoretically from these power lines and then up the hotel's metal frames and support rods and up the elevator shaft to through the foundation.
Okay.
And as the charge moves from these high charge density areas to lower density areas, similar to how fluids move from areas of high pressure and low pressure, these moving currents will create magnetic fields.
Okay.
And these magnetic fields would go along the central axis of the building, where it'd be strongest, and then move out away towards the exterior windows, where it'd be weaker.
Okay.
And so this is something that would theoretically impact people if they could be affected by changes in magnetic fields.
Go ahead. She's going because this is a commercial we're doing for Capsule. And why did you go
Because I absolutely love Capsule. I just discovered it, and I am the biggest fan. No joke. I told you, I told all my friends that they have to start using it.
And this is why, I got to tell you, as a germaphobe, even before the pandemic, isn't going to the pharmacy the worst? I mean, if you're going to bump into somebody who's sick, where are you going to do that? At the pharmacy, right?
Right. So Capsule is a new kind of pharmacy that hand delivers your prescription the same day for free. Here's how Capsule works. It's really, really easy. To start, you visit capsule.com. It only takes like 15 seconds to sign up. And when your prescription is ready, Capsule will text you to schedule a free delivery at any time you choose.
Then a Capsule courier hand delivers your medication to your door straight from their pharmacy in a tamper-proof package. It's totally secure.
And if you have any questions, you can call, you can text them, you can email, and you can speak with an expert pharmacist.
No more waiting in line, no more driving to the pharmacy, no more forgetting refills. It's so simple. Best of all, even though it's way better of an experience, Capsule doesn't cost any more than your old pharmacy.
I think everyone loves this service because it's so easy and so convenient. It is absolutely amazing.
Okay, so Capsule accepts all major insurance and is currently available in New York City and surrounding tri-state area, Austin, Boston, Chicago, the Twin Cities, LA, and other cities, and are soon to be coming. It is growing. Be part of the rage. To sign up, visit capsule.com to get your prescription hand-delivered today for free. That's capsule.com.
Let me tell you about FrameBridge. I love FrameBridge. I use FrameBridge. You could pretty much frame anything you want with FrameBridge, but I have this gallery wall in my house, and I just framed these beautiful black and white photos of my family and hung it on my gallery wall. It is so pretty. It's my favorite wall of the house.
Why is it a gallery wall?
It's called a gallery wall when you have like a bunch of different...
Oh, you made it a gallery. It was a regular wall.
It was a regular
Thank you, FrameBridge.
Yeah.
You turned a wall into a gallery.
Okay, so here's how it works. You just go to framebridge.com and you upload your photo, or they'll send you a package to safely mail in your physical pieces, because it's not just pictures that you could frame. You can really frame anything.
Any item. They'll frame your item and deliver the finished piece directly to your door and ready to hang. So it could be in like one of those shadow boxes things, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And instead of the hundreds you'd pay at a framing store, their price starts at $39 and all shipping is free. Plus, our listeners will get 15% off their first order at framebridge.com when they use our code Howie.
Okay, so give your, well, I was going to tell you about my personal experience. You had it done and sent me some pictures.
Of Axel and you.
Of Axel and me, which is my favorite pictures. Just put them on the wall. I didn't know it was a gallery wall, but I put them on my wall, and it's hard to even get away from that wall. They do such good work, such good memories, such good moments. Just go to framebridge.com, promo code Howie. Well, what makes somebody susceptible to being affected by a magnetic field?
So that is something that's just getting researched right now. And so it's been proven that animals such as birds have a magnetoreception and use information on Earth's magnetic field to basically guide their movements and navigate through winter and summer. And now recently, this was in 2019, Caltech research found that humans do have a magnetoreception. They had an experiment where they varied magnetic fields, and they found that subconsciously humans do detect changes
Well, I know that we have a magnetic field. I know that I have a problem, an electrocardiograph. Cardio problem. I have AFib, it was explained to me. It's just that, we're operating on electricity and magnetism. It's just part of who we are. That's how our heart beats. There's a little shock, an electric shock given to our heart. Our heart is a muscle, and that's why it contracts when it's given that shock, and that's what pumps out our blood. So we are a species that has electromagnetic force in us and around us. What were you going to say, Jackie?
But why would these magnetic fields only affect, there's so many people that stayed at this hotel, so why would it only affect a certain number of people?
Yeah, so let me respond to the first thing that you said, Howie. You're kind of pointing to the fact that our bodies are like batteries.
Right.
What is new with research is around the brain specifically.
Right.
And how the brain detects magnetic fields and can be impacted by changes in it.
Okay. So you're saying that, where the Cecil Hotel was, because there's a subway, there's power lines, isn't every high rise in any big city around electromagnetic? Why is the Cecil Hotel built on a different area than, any high rise in Manhattan?
Yeah, so every geography will be a bit different. I know with downtown LA, one thing that's unique in particular is that the Cecil Hotel and other buildings in the area are located above fault lines.
Fault lines for earthquakes?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so you get a lot of earthquake activity there, and during disturbances, toxic gases would actually rise up from underground, and that's potentially something that will impact people on the ground. And so this is one element of the equation. Also, the power lines, this is kind of a unique situation where it could just be the way that this infrastructure was laid out back in the 20s or earlier, where for some reason we're getting leakages from these power lines under the Cecil Hotel that's moving up through the hotel.
And is this a theory, or do you know that there are electrical leakages up into the building?
No, this is a theory. And it's something that wouldn't have been detected before.
But is that detectable? Can a layman go there and detect these magnetic forces, or?
No, I don't think Howie Mandel could. But
why are you talking about me in the third person? Why is that?
I don't know, but I think somebody with some expertise could.
All right, so let's get right. So what do you think this power and this energy does? Who and how does it affect people? And how? And bring it home.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
The power lines and the leakages and stuff is a theory, but fault lines are not theories. You know exactly where the fault lines are and where they run. And that's not a theory because we know living in California where the fault lines are, and when there's disturbance or a little shake that you might not even feel, that gases are released. That's not really a theory,
all
right?
this stuff that he's been telling us, that Eric's been telling us, is real and it exists. Listen, I believe that, you don't want to live near power lines, or near those big power structures, or, you don't want to live near a plutonium factory. I think that things kind of come out and off of those that are detrimental to our health. So specifically at the Cecil Hotel, with these solar disturbances, with the electricity, and being around the fault lines, specifically, how does that kind of answer or inform us at all about this young lady's disappearance?
Okay, so now let's get to the conclusion. Basically, you have to think about the nature of these deaths. The fact that people are jumping out windows is really important. What's causing that? Because that is extremely unique in this situation. What would cause somebody to kill themselves that way? And why are so many people jumping off windows on these upper levels of the Cecil Hotel? Sometimes people are going to the hotel that aren't even guests just to jump out the window and die.
So
sometimes people are staying on lower floors or moving up. And so now let's go back to the fact that there's this magnetic field that's going to be moving through the hotel. there is going to be a direction to that. So as you move up each floor, the magnetic field strength is going to decrease. And then as you spill out, let's start from the elevator bay.
Okay.
As you move up that and then out onto each floor, it's going to decrease then as you move towards the window. And so with Elisa Lam, they had dogs trace her scent, and they found that she was moving, I think this is the 5th or 6th floor. They found her scent to a window. And then later when we see the footage of her in the elevator, we see her like moving around her hands, trying to it seemed like she was reacting to something that she could feel. And then eventually to get to that.
So wait. So let's slow down. So she's reacting to something. So she feels was there around the time of her disappearance? Let's follow this. Did you look it up, the dates that she disappeared, and was there a solar or a magnetic disturbance?
Yeah. So the 31st of January, 2013, we had a Earth-directed coronal mass ejection, which is,
I don't know what that means, but I want an ointment for it.
It's basically fast-moving clouds of magnetic material.
All right.
And that's the day that she stops taking her medicine and contacting her family.
So are you saying that people that have mental health issues or are medicated are more susceptible to this? Is that what you're saying?
That is my thesis. And it's something we'd have to do a lot more research on.
No, I think we can solve it right here on Howie Mandel Does Stuff. We're going to solve mysteries here like nobody's ever solved. So wait, but you're theoretically, what you're thinking is that the human condition is reacting to these electromagnetic disturbances, but specifically, people who have mental health issues are more susceptible to it. That's your theory now?
Yeah, I mean, everybody's different, and there's so much we don't know about what makes people tick. And this is something where we can directly connect specific solar phenomenon to human activity on the ground. And it's something we've never really taken seriously, and it goes across multiple disciplines in science.
Wow.
So
you think that what she was dealing with in the elevator, when you watch her in the elevator, what do you see? Because I saw that she was kind of looking out like somebody was chasing her. What did you see?
So I see somebody who's trying to move away from a stronger side of the magnetic field. Like that's something that she's trying to avoid. It's basically like she's looking for the path of least resistance. And so in theory, like she's moving around the elevator because she feels like a stronger sense of this magnetic field in certain areas over others. And because the field strength is going to decrease as you move out towards the window.
Yeah.
And the field's going to then move up through this emergency exit, up the metallic ladder, and then eventually converge on top of the metal water tank.
Right.
He just followed that field line.
And that makes sense to you. Like, well, why would she take off all her clothes and get into the water?
So that I don't really have any thoughts on, but basically she wasn't thinking at that point.
But so let me summarize this. So your thought is, due to scientific fact, is that if you correlate all these instances with these with the solar weather, whatever you would call that, the disturbances, magnetic storms, and you can get that information from NASA, they correlate with these issues that happened around the hotel and people that stayed in the hotel. Number one.
Yeah.
Number two, you're saying that these issues, if they affect the human being, they affect people who have mental health issues are more susceptible to this?
Yeah, it's a unique crowd that just happens to be staying at the
let me ask you something then. For people that are listening, Eric is probably one of the brightest people I've ever met in my life. I mean, so, these theories can be, you could think they're silly. I kind of, just because I know him and I have the advantage of knowing him a lot more than anybody that's listening to him, You really, truly are. I don't know that you solved it for me, but I believe in mental health, and I believe there is chemistry and electromagnetic issues with our body, so it is totally possible. But that you just opened up a door, and just so the people at home know, or wherever you're listening in the car, Eric is, we call him Sherlock Holmes, because anything and everything that is just existing in normality in our world, he has a theory for. Just really quickly, and we'll talk further on. But Mona Lisa, is that what you were going to say, Jackie?
No, I wasn't going to say anything about that.
Oh,
I was going to say that obviously he's my brother.
To give it justice,
he's my brother-in-law, so I talk to him often. But he has so many theories on like the Mona Lisa, on black holes, on like aliens, on the pyramids, the Egyptian pyramids, like all this crazy stuff that
we should have him back on. And he should always be our conspiracy, but done from, the truth is we all, and conspiracy theories are, rampant on the internet and on podcasts and things. But sometimes you have to listen to who is the person spouting this and what is their background and what is their, what intrigues me about Eric is he comes at it from just fact-based. I guess, somebody who comes from such a dry background of a Yale finance, genius is looking at, in that same capability, is looking at these weird world events and trying to solve them like you would solve a financial problem or create a business or, so all these theories are great. Eric, would you be willing to come back on our podcast in the future and just tell us what you're working on? You don't want to mention Mona Lisa? I'll tell you, I will mention it, not now. I won't give away your theory.
Oh, yeah.
But no, I believe you 100%. He knows what Mona is smiling at. And I'm telling you, it's probably one of the most intriguing.
And I know who's behind the smile, I believe.
Say that again?
Possibly. And I think I know who's behind the smile.
Yes.
Because that's really important.
It really is. And as much as you don't have to be an art aficionado, it's one of the most spectacular stories. You did tell me that on the phone. We were talking about this today because I'm talking to Jackie about seeing ghosts, and Terry and I watched the Cecil Hotel documentary. But Eric, you're one of the most fascinating people I've ever met. You're a joy to spend time with, and you make sense out of the senseless. And I'm thrilled that you're part of our podcast. I'm going to be calling you from time to time because I'm really intrigued with everything that you're interested in.
I want to hear what other people think too. Like we mentioned earlier in the show that you could submit stuff to howie@castmedia.com. But now that he has this theory, I wonder if other people can chime in and see if they agree or bring any insight into this too, because I'm so into these theories. I don't think this is under the category of conspiracy theory just because it's so based on fact that you can find with data, right? That's like scientific data.
But it's still not totally explained. I get it that maybe she felt a force field. I'm somebody who deals with, mental health issues. I'm medicated. I may be more susceptible to external forces than most. And I believe that as somebody who sits here and feels like I'm always kind of living on the edge anyway. And our whole life, that, Jackie, is about coping, and figuring out how to do it. So I believe that, and that's what we were talking about. Even for, Jackie, do you believe in, I'll ask you this, Eric, do you believe in life after death? Do you believe in the existence of?
Oh, so that's a heavy topic.
Well, no, it's the same topic in the sense that, and I'll tell you why I'm bringing it the same. The only experience that I really had with death is I was in the room when my father passed, and this is why I'm gonna tie this into the theory that you just gave us. And when my father passed, I was in the room, and the nurse, all the equipment went flatline, and the nurse goes, "That's it." And we were called to the hospital because we knew that he was slipping away. And she goes, "That's it." And she starts taking out all the tubes and whatever and the whatnot. And for whatever reason, I can't articulate this, but I felt an energy like he was still in the room. And the best way that I can explain it, have you ever been in a room someplace and you feel like somebody's watching you and you turn around and there is somebody in the doorway and you just felt they were there, their presence? You ever felt that, Eric?
Before
seeing somebody. I think the average person, we don't think about it, has felt somebody's presence looking at them, near them, and then they turned around and they were there. I think your answer to this, or the story you just told, gives us a piece of that answer, and that is we are this magnetic, electromagnetic being, or that's part of our being. So you feel the energy, we give off energy, whether we give off heat, whether we give off sound, we give off energy. So people know when you're in the room. There is a feeling to have another living creature live, even without hearing, you feel that. And when she told me my father was gone, for some reason I just had, and this was like before any of this stuff that happened, well, the one thing happened with Jackie with the house, but none of the stuff where she was in contact. They were taking out the things, and I could feel my dad was still in the room. My dad was in the room, but he wasn't in this body that I was looking at, and I can't articulate, but he was in the room, and I screamed at the top of my lungs. I screamed, "Dad, Dad!" And he went back into his body and took one more, he took a breath like that. The nurse jumped back and went, "Fuck." Like even verbally said, "Fuck." And then I saw my dad was suffering. I said, "No, you can go, you can go, you can go, you can go." And it was the last breath, and I felt that energy leave that body and leave the room. And that was it, and then there was just a body, just that envelope there. But what I'm saying is, I guess what I'm saying to you, and, you can believe me or not believe me. That's what I think I felt. That's what I think I experienced. That's how I articulated. But it kind of makes sense to me when, I go to all these EKGs and for my heart, and I've had things done when I realize there is an energy in our body, real energy. And if you follow science at all, energy cannot be destroyed. It only changes forms. That's science. So if there is energy, electromagnetic energy, that is what we are, that is life, when this package we call a body is damaged or broken or smashed, where does that energy go? And does that energy exist in any other place? And does it affect other people in the world? That, young man, is your next theory that I need you to solve, Eric.
Oh, I think that would take a lifetime to solve.
Thanks for coming on. And do you have an email? Do you want people to contact you? Do you want anything like that, or you just?
Not for now.
Okay.
No.
You can't find Sherlock Holmes. He's working on his own.
Yeah, definitely not.
Okay. All right, buddy.
I appreciate it.
All the best,
Bye.
Eric. Have a good one. Bye.
Bye, Eric.
Bye. I also noticed during Eric's story, you were talking to somebody. Jackie, who are you talking to?
Abby.
What did she want?
What do you mean? When she came in?
Yeah.
Yeah, she came in. She's very mad at me that I'm not going and logging her onto some computer thing.
Oh, I hear her. Come here, Abby. Abby?
What? You want something?
Abby, come on the camera.
Come here, Abby.
She wants something.
She's just telling me the dog's upstairs and it's not supposed to be. Where is your father?
Where
Where's
is your
Dada?
father? That's always a better
downstairs?
question to hear your daughter asking than who is the father?
She said, I said, where is Dada? She goes, downstairs. He's chilling his life away.
This kid, just so you people know, is 6. She's amazing. She's also the number one person in the world right now selling Girl Scout cookies. I let her come on. She won't come on the podcast, but she came on Ellen the other day. I was hosting Ellen, and she came on in her Girl Scout uniform and told everybody about where to get cookies. And you could tell, Jackie, real quickly, you got a phone call, didn't you?
Mm-hmm. A phone call? Yeah, I got a phone call from the head of Girl Scouts saying, were you on Ellen? And I was like, yeah. Like head of Girl Scouts International. Or national.
The main girl. The main girl.
The main person.
Yes.
The main person. And they got such an overwhelming response to buy Abby's cookies that they needed to update my website. Like I have my own personal website now, or Abby does, so that the people who order know to only order shipped direct, because I was getting so many orders for us to go deliver. Like they wanted me to go fly to Florida, Pennsylvania, Oregon.
Locally in LA, you did deliver some, right?
I delivered, yeah. So I had to exchange or cancel a few orders because I wasn't going to go on a plane. But there were some that happened to be local enough that I'm like, oh, I'll just go drop him off, no big deal. I decided not to bring Abby on those trips. She had already delivered most of the ones to the people that we knew. I mean, granted, I'm kind of crazy and neurotic, so we didn't actually like deliver it to people. We just kind of dropped it off on their doorstep and ran.
You were like little Amazon people.
Yeah, with like masks and gloves and goggles and like headscarves. Yeah, but anyway, so there was a few that were local and in the area, and I decided to go do it myself. Well, I am not doing that again because, yes, Abby? Oh my gosh.
What? What did she say?
That I'm a liar, shorts on fire. I'm wearing shorts.
Why liar, shorts on fire? Abby, we're talking about your cookies.
Because I said I was going to come help her, and I'm not right now. So I'm going to have to tell the story quickly and then get off.
Ahead.
But anyways, I went and I delivered, and this woman came out, which first of all freaked me out as it is, that a woman came out to get the cookies. I didn't want to deliver to anyone face to face, so I popped my trunk, stood at the front of the car, and I was just like, hey, you can get your cookies from my trunk. Thank you for your order.
So I just want to, let me stop for 1 second. You got to know that I'm so proud of this kid. I'm talking about my daughter. She didn't fall far, the apple didn't fall far from the tree. She's very neurotic. In fact, when she goes out to pick up school supplies for the children who are learning on Zoom, she drives by the school. She has a car where she can electronically open the back door so that they put the supplies into the trunk, and she could drive home without, hands-free. Twice, she's almost beheaded teachers because they reach in and they put the things, and she can't wait to close the door. And she never waits till the person who's putting the school supplies in is fully removed from the car. So she's getting complaints that, can you wait till the teacher drops the supplies and steps back from the car before you close? So just to tell you, I'm giving you a setup to how neurotic. So she's got the cookies on the hood of the car, right?
Yeah, I open the trunk and I stand far away, more than 6 feet. I have to say it's like 20 feet, and ask her to go grab the cookies from the back of the car. This woman is like, where is Ashley? And I'm thinking,
wait, who's Ashley?
Who the heck is Ashley?
Oh.
Who is Ashley? Yeah, who is Ashley? And she's like, your daughter, the one that was on
Abby.
Ellen, Ashley. And I'm like, you mean Abby? She's like, yeah, whatever, Abby, where is she? I'm like, oh, she didn't come, but she has a video message thanking you that I will send you after. And she's like, well, the only reason I ordered them was to meet with Abby. And I was like, all right, well,
now it's scary.
Do you want... Yeah. And then I started getting freaked out because she was visibly upset that I didn't bring Abby. And thank goodness I did not bring Abby. But she was asking where she was, visibly upset. And she said the only reason she ordered them was to meet Abby. And I said, well, you can take your cookies. Feel free to take them. Or if you don't want them anymore, that's fine. I'll take them home and we will eat them. Or I'll find someone else who wants them. And she's like, well, I had a plan where I was going to order these cookies. And then I know Abby needs to work on her socialization and people skills. So I was going to talk to her and interview her. And then if she answered correctly, then I would share cookies with her.
Wait.
In my head.
2 words, people skills. This woman's going to teach Ashley people skills. First of all,
I was freaking out. I didn't know how to approach. Now I do. Looking back, I do. In the moment where I don't want to have interaction with anyone, where I don't want anyone to come close to me, and I don't know these people, and she's very visibly upset and wants to interact with my daughter, then I am freaked out. And I'm somewhere where I don't even know where I am. Like,
you know what your problem is? You know what your problem is? You have no people skills. You have no people skills. And I hope you teach Ashley a lesson too. Go help your daughter. I'll do the rest. I'll close us out in this one, and I'll see you on the next one, Jackie.
Before I go, it's really important. I have a quote of the day, a motivational tampon quote of the day that I think everyone should hear.
If this is the first one you're listening to, we discovered a while back that the tampons, which are tampons, have a motivational quote written on them, like bubblegum used to have jokes. Tampons have motivational quotes, and nothing is more motivational than, hearing words that lift you up after pre-insertion, right?
Yeah. Words of wisdom from the tampons.
No strings
You ready?
attached. Yeah, go ahead.
No. All right.
Same joke.
Drum roll, please. Go with the flow.
No. No. Go with the flow?
Go with the flow. Go with the flow.
This comes from Tampon? Go with the flow?
Yes.
Because the whole point of Tampon is not going with the flow, is blocking the flow, is stopping the flow. This makes no sense from a marketing point of view. Just take that string, toss it across the room, and go with the flow.
Yeah.
Have a bloody good time.
All right. On that note, I'm going to go help my daughter.
Go with the flow.
I'm going to go with the flow.
Go with the flow. Go help your daughter. I love you more, Jackie. I want to tell everybody that's listening, I want you to follow us and leave a review wherever you're listening to podcasts or subscribe to our YouTube channel. There are so many opportunities with Howie Mandel Does Stuff. And I'd love you to interact and, email us, send us things, send us stories. We'll do prank calls in the future. We'll do challenges, a lot of things. There isn't anything we won't do. It's going to be a lot of stuff. I'm thrilled, and I've. Can I have that drum roll to end the show?